Anthony Bourdain was married twice and had some other serious relationships before his tragic death in 2018. Which one of his romantic pairings was described as toxic by friends? Keep watching to find out. Anthony Bourdain married his first love. He told Daily Life, "At high school, I fell in with your typical bad crowd, but I also fell in love with Nancy Putkoski." He revealed that Putkoski was not only older than him, but also known as a bad girl. Despite her reputation, it seems she did get Bourdain to graduate high school early and go to college. He followed Putkoski to Vassar, but ended up leaving to attend the Culinary Institute of America instead. They officially tied the knot in 1985, but just because they were married didn't mean they gave up their wild ways. Bourdain not only compared their romance to the film Drugstore Cowboy in an interview with The New Yorker, but also described it as, "That kind of love and codependency and sense of adventure, we were criminals together." Yet a childhood friend revealed that their relationship had a dark side, explaining, "When Tony's dad died, they got some money and it just went into their veins. That may be why the two never had kids together." Bourdain told The Guardian in 2006, "I'd rather be the evil uncle who lets them do everything. Up until very recently, I could hardly take care of myself." Nancy Putkoski may have been Anthony Bourdain's first love, but it seems the two weren't each other's endgame and eventually drifted apart. Bourdain seemingly blamed his career change at the time, saying, "I spent almost 2 years traveling and filming a cook's tour, and as a result, my marriage fell apart." Bourdain dished to The Guardian that traveling had also affected how he perceived his marriage. He explained that after going to Vietnam in particular, "I knew that my whole previous life was doomed. I had seen that color, and I knew that that had changed me."
Until 6 years ago, I'd been nowhere. I spent my whole life standing in a kitchen. My whole life changed overnight.
When it came to his feelings for Putkoski, he confessed, "She was the love of my life, but everything changed." Despite reaching this conclusion, Bourdain recalled to The New Yorker that he was suicidal after their 2005 divorce. He explained to The Guardian, "What I do regret is letting people down. As a friend, as a lover, being a letdown." Following his split from his first wife, Nancy Putkoski, Anthony Bourdain dated gossip columnist Paula Froelich for a few months in 2005 per Yahoo. The former Page Six writer confirmed their romance at her book party when she was asked how she got Bourdain to cater it. According to the New York Times, she revealed at the time, "He offered, which I never would have asked him. I mean, that's a bit much, you know, to be like, oh hey, by the way, I know that we like to hang out and have sex, but will you cook for my party?" While their relationship didn't last long, the two attended several events together, even kissing for the camera at one. They apparently even stayed friends after their breakup, remaining in touch years later. Following Bourdain's death, Froelich told the Daily Beast, "I last saw him a year ago. He was a wonderful human being." The journalist also paid tribute to her late ex with an Instagram post where she shared her own photo of them together, writing in the caption, "To a good man, a great friend, a loyal love. That's all I'm going to say." However, she did write a series of deleted tweets about depression that were perceived to be about Bourdain's suicide, writing, "You can be rich as hell, totally successful, but still lonely. But take heart in knowing only the best, funniest, loveliest, most empathetic, wonderful, talented people have depression." In 2007, Anthony Bourdain got married again, this time to Italian restaurant manager Ottavia Busia. People reports that despite Busia being 22 years Bourdain's junior, the two were set up by their mutual friend and famous chef Eric Ripert. In the documentary Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain, Busia recalled, "I thought he was going to be this bad boy, a little bit arrogant, and not what I was expecting, but endearing nonetheless." She explained how his busy schedule didn't bother her at first, telling Married to a Chef, "When I met him, I was actually the one working in a restaurant and he was already traveling the world. Because their lives were so hectic, they often met up in dive bars in the middle of the night," Busia recalled. One of those first dates in particular was what made Bourdain fall in love. He dished to Cosmopolitan, "She ordered a 6-pound lobster. I sat there enraptured. Her fearless, open-minded approach to food is completely alluring." Beside their love of food, they also bonded over their restaurant industry experience, Busia explained. We used to meet after my shift was over, and we would stay up for hours drinking beers, talking about my day at work. Eventually, they both got into mixed martial arts fighting too. Bourdain revealed to Vice that because of that, date night is pretty much going to a fight. It seems that becoming parents is what moved Anthony Bourdain's relationship with Ottavia Busia along faster. Busia explained to Vanity Fair, "We had a kid and got married in a few months of meeting." Despite saying he didn't want kids in the past, Bourdain seemed very taken with being a father to their daughter Ariane. He told Daily Life, "It's cliché to say that being a father is the greatest thing ever, but there's only one thing better, and that's being a father of a little girl." Despite becoming a dad, Bourdain's career kept him away from home a lot. Not only did Busia tell the Miami News-Times that Bourdain's non-stop schedule was her biggest challenge, but she even recalled to Married to a Chef that she once woke up terrified after realizing a stranger was in bed next to her. It just so happened that the stranger was Bourdain. She had just forgotten that her husband was home. It appears Bourdain's schedule not only impacted his marriage, but his parenting as well. Busia revealed to Vanity Fair, "He was around so little, so when he was home, there was no enforcing homework, there was no discipline. He was 100% fun dad." Ariane seemed to agree, saying, "He played with me all the time. He pretty much encouraged every single thing I wanted to do in my life." You could say that a lot of the issues that led to the end of Anthony Bourdain's first marriage were still problems for his second. Ottavia Busia told Married to a Chef that, like Bourdain's ex-wife, she too struggled with his fame. She explained, "When I first met my husband, he wasn't particularly famous. I have to admit at first, when people started asking for pictures or autographs pretty much everywhere, it was a little unsettling. What made matters presumably worse was that the two didn't seem to spend much time together," with Busia revealing that Bourdain was only home during the holidays and that she was, quote, "used to being alone." Bourdain seemingly mentioned this issue too when announcing their split in 2016, telling People, "My wife and I have lived very separate lives for years." The Parts Unknown star maintained that they remained friends, though adding, "There's no drama here. We get along really, really well, and it's not a big lifestyle change." Despite their split, Page Six reports that they never finalized their divorce, and that Busia was still Bourdain's next of kin at the time of his 2018 death. Anthony Bourdain's last relationship was his first with a fellow celebrity. The former chef confirmed he was dating Italian actor Argento to Us Weekly in 2017 after the two were spotted canoodling around Italy. He gushed, "I am happy. I am very happy. Argento is someone who is very precious to me." The two didn't hide their romance, often posting about each other on social media. In one Instagram selfie, Bourdain wrote in the caption, "Just a perfect day. You made me forget myself." Argento reposted it, adding, "I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years." Bourdain spoke very highly of his love, telling People, "She's a really accomplished director and writer, along with being a longtime actress and a real sponge for culture, music, literature. She's enormously helpful and inspiring." He also pointed out that Argento didn't have a problem with his busy schedule, saying, "We both work a lot, and we're both away from home a lot." While Bourdain never wanted to get married again, he dished to People that he enjoyed spending a lot of time with Argento and appreciated how similar they were. Argento also accompanied Bourdain on a lot of his traveling for Parts Unknown. She not only would sometimes appear with him on the TV series, but even directed an episode. While Anthony Bourdain appeared to be very in love with actor Argento, some close to him were worried that the romance was more of an unhealthy obsession. An unnamed source told People, "Bourdain was like a teenage boy, just absolutely love-struck. He would have done anything for her, and that was a little red flag for some of his friends." Bourdain's Parts Unknown producer, Christopher Collins, told the New York Post that their relationship could be toxic, saying, "There was a very sort of manic nature to what was going on in that last year. The highs were very, very high, and the lows were very ugly." To make matters worse, following Bourdain's death, Argento told the Daily Mail,
"He had cheated on me too. It wasn't a problem with us.
Their relationship was also presumably strained when Argento was accused of sexually assaulting actor Jimmy Bennett when he was only 17. Before that, Argento had revealed she was the victim of convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein. In response to the revelation, Bourdain tweeted, "I am proud and honored to know you." He remained by Argento's side in the wake of the Bennett accusations by reportedly paying Bennett off to keep him quiet. Argento denied the assault, but admitted to the payoff in a statement to Yashir Ali that read in part, "Anthony was afraid of the possible negative publicity." When Anthony Bourdain took his own life in 2018, it left those who loved him devastated. His first wife, Nancy Putkowski, admitted that despite their split, she was worried about him before his death. Putkowski said in the book, Bourdain, the definitive oral biography, "I didn't like the way he looked in the last couple of years. He looked like he was being ridden hard and put away wet." His second wife, Ottavia Busia, seemed to agree, revealing, "He was much darker in the last year or so of his life. I could not really recognize him." Busia reiterated this in Roadrunner, saying, "He was not the same person. Something changed and became really heavy. I should have kept an eye on him more." Yet Busia apparently doesn't want to focus on how Bourdain died. Instead, she said, "I want to remember when we were together, all the amazing things that we'd done." As for Argento, she tweeted that she was beyond devastated, adding, "He was my love, my rock, my protector." She later expressed to the Daily Mail that it hurt her that some people blamed her for Bourdain's depression. Argento said in the interview,
"I understand that the world needs to find a reason. I would like to find that reason too."
It's clear that Bourdain not only touched many fans around the world, but also those who loved him even more. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK 8255.